Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play ChäoS Child. In the last episode, after much deliberation, it is decided that Ukiyama Zoe will indeed stay at the Aoba dorm / clinic. So, yeah, now that that's settled, Sunday. Arimura, Uki and I got a full medical check at a hospital run by a friend of my dad's, just like Shinjo had suggested. Mio is going to be incredibly furious, but she can basically stew in her anger for the time being. And now the numbers, brainwaves, electrocardiographs, MRIs and other images were lined up on Dad's computer screen. And we didn't actually need a lobotomy to boot. Go team. Of course, as a complete amateur, I had no idea what any of it meant. Kunosato was talking my dad as if she were a colleague rather than addressing him as the much older man that he was. I doubt that she actually sees him as a colleague despite being her senior. But then what else is new? おかしなものって何ですか？ただでさえこんな検査されてムカついてるのに。しかも今日って友達と約束あったんですよ。女子同士って一度断ると後々面倒なんですけど。Arimura put her hands on her hips and complained. Uki, for her part, looked scared. She was hiding behind me and trying to stay out of Kunosato's sight. 素人は黙ってろ。邪魔だ。はあ？冗談じゃないですよ。ここでちゃんと言っとかないと、この先どんな実験をされるか分かったもんじゃありませんからね。そういうことを言うど素人が一番腹が立つ。
なあ有村さん、久野里さん、そうやって一日中喧嘩してて疲れないか？
Shinjo shied, like he always did. Arimura's eyes narrowed as she glared at Kunosato, who just laughed.
で、佐久間先生、結果はどうでした？
分かったことがあればなるべく早くお願いします。できればこの後買い物に行きたいんで。
ああ、そうするよ。まずウキちゃんの成長阻害因子に関してだが、これはすぐにはわからん。染色体からホルモンの分泌異常まで詳しい結果が出るには時間がかかる。
Yeah, Uki's situation is complicated.
で、タクルと有村さんに関しては体はどこにも異常なし。どの臓器もすこぶる健康だ。
That's physiology out of the way.
ただし、タクルは食事のバランスが明らかに悪い。特定の栄養素が欠乏してる。これはののによーく言っとくからな。
Making fun at our expense. Of course.
有村さんは少し甘いものや油を控えた方がいい。ジャンクフードもやめること。このままだと確実にメタボへ一直線だ。
体のことは別にいい。脳はどうなんだ？
ああ、これが MRI だが。
Dad clicked on one of the images, which displayed images of a human brain. Arimoto must have found the sight of her own brain creepy because she looked away. Uki didn't seem to know what it was, and stared out from behind me confused. Kunosato clicked through the images slowly, checking each little part in turn, but then finally tossed it away.
3人ともネガティブだな。
ああ、ネガティブだよ。
ネガティブ？嘘、頭悪いってことですか？
No, I think in this case negative is actually a good thing for us. Hinae, a very good thing. Arimoto staggered back as if she'd been given some kind of shocking news.
確かに頭が悪いな。バカすぎる。
To be fair, you did kind of walk into that one there, Hinae.
そんな。
いやいや、そういう意味じゃないから。
Dad chuckled a little.
久野里君、君は聞いていた以上に人が悪いね。
ネガティブの意味もわからないようなやつはバカと断じていいはずだが。
こいつは新庄君の気苦労もわかるね。
でしょ？
Shinjo gave Dad a tired smile.
安心していい、有村さん。医学の世界ではネガティブは陰性って意味だ。つまりおかしな症状は出ていないということだよ。
Indeed. In other words, Mio's hypothesis has been thrown out the window.
君の脳は至って正常ってことさ。
なんだ、びっくりした。
Arimoto sighed with relief, for once acting like a girl her age. Lately I finally understood that this was who she really was. She once told me before that she was always trying to be the person that people around her wanted her to be.
ギガロマニアックスと脳の肥大化の間には結局因果関係はないのか。
少なくともタクルたちに異常は見られない。君の言うそのギガロなんとかとの関連性は自分で判断してくれ。
Yeah. Sakuma doesn't know about Gigolomaniacs, and that's probably for the best. But that basically means that whatever happened to each of the victims in the second new generation cases, that enlargement of the brain that Mio's talking about, that isn't actually related to their own Gigolomaniac powers. Which basically means that the people who murdered them are the ones responsible. Kunosato frowned and thought.
でも一連の殺人事件の犠牲者には特徴があった。被害者の脳に同一の症状が見受けられた。
Kunosato showed Dad her tablet computer. It had several brains on it that weren't ours. Arimoto looked away again.
これを見ればわかるだろ どれも大脳新皮質が肥大化している。
ああ、言われれば確かに。
Dad whispered as he looked at the tablet.
肥大化？大きくなってるってこと？
まあな。
およそ 1.2 倍といったところか。そこで今回お前たちの脳に同様の症状があるのか見せてもらったわけだが、結果はネガティブだった。お前たちの脳は通常の人間と変わらない。
Nope. Definitely not.
つまり被害者にだけ脳を肥大化させる特別な何かが起こった。
Yeah. It's called murder in very
さあ
unusual
それは
fashion.
どうだろうな。この程度なら日常生活に支障のあるレベルじゃない。知性や知能にも影響はないだろう。本人も気づいてなかったんじゃないか。
つまりもともとそういう脳をしていたのか、死の間際に異常をきたしたのか、あるいは脳に異常をきたしたせいで死んだのか、断定はできないということですか。
Indeed, too many variables. At this point, Dad looked at the tablet and nodded.
そういうことだね。
いずれにせよ考察のためのデータが乏しすぎる。せめてあと 2,3 に被害者が出てくれればいいんだが。
Well, it's funny you should bring that up, Mio, because if we let things run their course, we've conveniently got 3 more victims on the way. If the pattern
だから
sticks.
そういうことを口にするのはやめろ。
Shinjo treated it like a joke, but her face was completely serious and terrifying.
っていうか、つまり今日の私たちの検査はあんまり意味がなかったってことですか？冗談じゃないんですけど。
いや、そんなことはないさ。有村さんがすこぶる健康で脳にも異常なしって分かっただけでも収穫じゃないか。
True, but don't think Hinae sees it that way. Shinjo tried his best to make her feel better, but
私に向かって心にもないこと言っても無駄ですよ。これだから有村は厄介だって思いましたね、今。
そんなことあるわけ。
Shinjo gave up and lowered his head.
すまん。
ああ、せっかくの休みが潰れちゃった。私そろそろ行きますね。
Adimura grabbed her bag and tried to leave.
ちょっと待て。
But she turned around at the door when Kunosato stopped her.
何ですか？
最後にもう一つ手伝え。お前の能力が必要だ。
Really? You who hate all gigalomaniacs.
嫌です。
だから久野里さん、物には頼み方というものが。
But Kunosato ignored him.
山添雨季の能力についてちゃんと聞いておきたい。
Uki shivered and hid behind me. Dad saw her and frowned in a way that only I could notice. Then he said, "I'm gonna hit the restroom," and walked past Arimura and out the door. On the way out, he whispered to me.
俺は向こうへ行ってるわ。超能力なんて話は医者の領分じゃねえ。聞いてるだけでこっちの頭が変になりそうだ。
Maybe we're all crazy. But you're right. After Dad left, Kunosato looked at tiny little Uki with cold eyes.
山添、お前自身にもよく分かっていないようだが、とりあえず知っていることだけでいい。話してみろ。
Her harsh tone only scared Uki more, but I looked at her and nodded, and she tried her best to work up her courage.
私は誰かが心に描いたものを形にしてしまうみたいなんです。
Yeah, that's real booting, but she has the ability to real boot other people's delusions.
誰かが心に描いたもの？
Which is interesting.
それは誰の思考でもか？
私の近くにいる人です。
形というのは、つまり実体化させるということだな。例えば、ここにあるコインを私が思い描いたら。
Kunosato took out a penny and showed it to Uki.
そういうものの場合もありますし、そうじゃないものもあります。
She's trying her best.
そうじゃないものっていうと？
何と言えばいいのかわからないですが、例えば状態を。
状態？
綺麗になりたいとか、こうなってほしいとか。
それが現実になるっていうのか？
現実なんでしょうか。私にもよくわかりません。
I don't think anyone knows.
それは今やろうと思ってできるものなのか？
いえ、意識してできるわけではないです。
どうだ、有村。
It's okay, Uki. At least I hope. Kunosato looked over, but Arimura just turned her head.
はいはい、その子嘘はついてませんよ。全部本当みたいです。
無意識のうちに他人の思考や願望をリアルブートしてしまうということだな。
Yeah, it's more of a defense mechanism than anything else.
なるほど。それならこの前フリージアから姿を消した方法も説明がつく。百瀬さんの思考がリアルブートされてしまったわけか。
So her powers could only reboot other people's thoughts and wishes, not her own. It was like her own life. She had no hopes of her own and only lived her life for the sake of others. In a way, it was a very sad power.
好むと好まざるとにかかわらず能力を発動してしまうという点では、そこにいる有村ひなえと同じ部類だ。能力自体は大したものだが、不便なものだ。
不便 点で悪かったですね。
で、それはいつからだ、山添。いつからそんな能力を身につけたのかと聞いている。地下施設での実験中にか。
いえ、私は劣等生でしたから。
ならいつだ。
多分渋谷の地震の後からだと。
Interesting. So, for some reason, the Shibuya Earthquake resulted in the awakening of other gigalomaniacs.
やはりな。
やはりってのは？
こいつらの話と、あとあんたが調べた被害者たちの過去、それらを総合して考えると、能力に目覚めたと思われる時期がほぼ同じだ。
あの地震が原因だってのか？
まだ仮説だがな。
Kunasato started to type something into a tablet.
待ってくれ。地震なんてどこでも頻繁に起こってる。その度にギガロマニアックスが生まれてたらキリがないじゃないか。
It depends on whether or not that earthquake is capable of killing thousands of people. Like the one that happened 6 years ago.
いや、私が言っているのは地震そのものじゃない。
あ？
Indeed, Mio has already figured out
あの
something.
時、不可思議な現象が渋谷で観測されたのを覚えているか？
Yeah, and I believe it was Momose herself that spoke of something, a little something known as G rates. For those of you who don't know, G rates are gravitational error rates. And during the events of ChäoS Head, those G rates were steadily rising, culminated by a hidden hand. Something strange. I did remember, actually.
もしかしてあの白い光ですか？
Yeah. White light that completely enveloped the sky when, well, Kunasato nodded. That white light. The white light that had covered us right after the Shibuya earthquake. There were a lot of rumors about it, including one that said there was plasma caused by the earthquake. But I heard they still didn't really know what it was. I know.
驚いたな。久野里さんが陰謀論者だとは思わなかった。
Oh, it's more than just a conspiracy, Shinjo.
陰謀論ってまさか一時期流行したあれですか？
I was talking about a certain rumor that had gone around right after the earthquake. The rumor said that the quake was caused by a secret tectonic weapon experiment, a joint project between the US and Japan that might have gone awry. Not white, I'm afraid, Takuru, and of course, Shinjo. A weapon capable of causing an earthquake to destroy an enemy's cities, primarily seen in urban legends and conspiracy theories. There are many proposed methods by which such a weapon could operate, but the most likely are the three below. First, electromagnetic waves could heat up underground water reservoirs beneath the target, causing them to expand and excite the Earth's crust. There are rumors that the American HAARP, High Frequency Active Oral Research Program, was used for this purpose. Second, a hydrogen bomb or other powerful weapon could be placed at an unstable fault or plate boundary under the ocean and detonated to cause an earthquake. That is said to be the mission of the deep sea drilling unit Chiku that was developed as part of the US-Japanese Integrated Ocean Drilling Program, IODP. The third method is an advanced version of a theory originally proposed by Nikola Tesla, wherein a signal is generated that matches the resonant frequency of the ground at the target site. The resultant resonant effect and amplification would cause a collapse of the Earth's crust in that area and thus an earthquake. While it wasn't a weapon, Tesla developed a device to prove that this resonant effect exists, which is said to have actually almost destroyed a building. There is another theory that has become popular on the internet, which involved sending an army of sumo wrestlers to an active fault near the target point, where they would all stomp on the ground at the same time. All of those are wildly, immensely inaccurate. None of those things caused the Shibuya quake 6 years ago. But conspiracy theory, of course, believes otherwise, and that the mysterious light was caused by its explosion. And that ChäoS child syndrome, which was believed to be a form of PTSD, might actually be caused by the materials used in that weapon. This last one, however, there might be some truth to that. Possibly. The rumor was popular on that channel for a while, but people quickly got bored with it. By the time I'd woken up from my coma, no one was talking about it anymore. No, it would be more accurate to say that instead of people getting bored, someone had done their best to erase all traces of it. At the time, I'd found this strange and started looking into it outside the internet. Despite the large magnitude of the quake, there had been no aftershocks afterward. All the damage had been concentrated in Shibuya, and the epicenter had been observed to be far too shallow. Despite all this, not a single scientist was speaking up. Curious, isn't it? Whenever someone raised even the smallest doubt, they were quickly shouted down as an idiot conspiracy theorist. Even though all anyone has is conspiracy theories. But we know the truth.
ただの陰謀論だったらいいのだがな。
というと？
すべての元凶はあの光自体にあるのではないかと私は考えている。地震はその副次的なものに過ぎない。
But Mio is actually surprisingly going down the right track. The earthquake is indeed just a symptom of the real cause.
本気で言ってるのか？じゃあ君は光の正体を何だと思ってるんだ？
それが分かれば苦労しない。ただ何者かの手によって引き起こされたものだと私は確信している。
I'm sure your life would be a whole lot easier. But,
すいません。そういうのは後でやってください。私は早く事件を解決してくれればそれでいいんで。
Arimoto saw that Shinjo and Kunasato were about to start arguing and readjusted her tote bag on her shoulder.
私の仕事はもう終わりですよね。じゃあさようなら。宮代先輩たちもまた学校で。
ああ、それじゃあな。
Fare thee well.
ウキもまたね。てかもっと元気出せよ。
She patted Uki lightly on the head and left the examination room. Uki softly whispered, "Yes, ma'am," as she watched her go. As diligent as ever. After that, Kunasato began to mumble to herself as she started to look at our data on Dad's PC. It was a different look in her eyes than any I'd seen before. To be honest, she looked a little crazy. It wasn't like a mad scientist, or dare I say, an insane mad scientist. By the name of oh no, not gonna make that reference again. It was as if she was concealing some dark obsession, which she probably is. I hope that obsession doesn't come back to bite us in the... Oh, who am I kidding? That obsession is going to totally come back and bite us in the arse. I just know it. I'd seen these eyes somewhere before. Where was it? I remembered and shivered.
あのパイロキネシスト、南沢千里かもしれないあの女の目にそっくりだ。
They were the eyes of someone bent on revenge and consumed by hatred and rage. Ominous. And now it's nighttime. And of course, Takuru can't sleep. The Shibuya Earthquake and the strange light, and the relationship they had with our powers. I rolled around in my bed thinking about everything that happened. And then I thought back to the crazy look in Kunisato's eyes. She looked just like the pyrokinetic. Lunatic.
復讐か。
That could actually be more of a factor than we give it credit for. Did Senri Minamisawa hate me for what I'd done that day? Did she still hate me even now?
そんなバカな。子供の頃の話だぞ。いくらなんでもそんな昔のことで。
Oh, you'd be surprised at how irrational hate can be. I tried to say it aloud to convince myself. But that pyrokinetic wasn't behaving like a normal person. It was hard to think she was sane. Very much so. She was a beast, an animal without a conscience that was stalking the streets of Shibuya with bared fangs. At least, that's how she seemed to me. And the terrifying words she said when she saw me. She looked at me and said, "I found you."
結局、僕は知らないうちに自分の命をわざわざ危険にさらすような事件に首を突っ込んでしまってたのか。
Probably. Definitely, I would say. The more I thought about it, the more my blood began to run cold. If I'd known this was going to happen, I would have just listened to Kurisu to begin with. But how could we have known?
って何を弱気になってんだ。
I sat up on the bed. That's right, I had my power. Even if that woman was Senri Minamisawa, and she was trying to kill me out of revenge, I wouldn't just sit there and let her.
ただ
What if she attacked me when I was with Kurusu? And what if things got so dangerous that I couldn't protect my own life or Kurusu's without killing her? Could I kill Senri Minamisawa right in front of Kurusu? A tough question. And there's a phone call. I almost slipped up at the sudden noise. The sound was from my new smartphone. I'd finally gotten a new one before I went to the hospital today. I'd totally forgotten. Which begs the question, why are we getting a phone call from a new smartphone? I remembered how Ito had gotten a call from my own old phone after I'd lost it and hesitated a little. I looked at the screen, trembling. Caller Seruko Inoue.
なんだ尾上かもしもし
Oh, it is Seruka. So, Takuru did give her his new phone number.
どうしたんだよ
もしかしてご機嫌斜め今日の検査で何かあった
Something did happen. We'll leave it at
そういうわ
that.
けじゃないけど
ダメだよごまかしてもそういう声の時のタクはだいたい悩んでる時なんだから
Evidently, it wasn't just Kurusu and Arimura who could tell when I was lying.
で何を悩んでたの
Hard to answer over the phone. I wasn't sure if I should tell her, but it was Seruka who I was talking to after all. I told her everything I've been thinking about.
白い光
あの時尾上も僕と一緒にいたよな何か覚えてないか
それがね私倒れて気絶しちゃってたから光とか見てないんだほらタクが病院まで運んでくれたでしょ
So Seruka was unconscious when
あ
that
あ
happened.
そういえばそうだったな
I could still remember how Seruka felt when I carried her on my back. Until then, I hadn't really treated her differently than any other boy, but at some point she'd started to grow into a woman. When I carried her on my back, I was surprised. That was what a girl felt like.
あの時はごめんねありがとう
今さらなんだよ僕とお前の仲だろ
幼なじみってやっぱりいいね
Seruka sounded happy, but the tone of her voice quickly dropped.
あでものんちゃんの幼なじみのあの子はのんちゃんやタクを悩ませてるんだよね困ったね
That is the case.
お前も気をつけろよ昔地下施設で南沢千里を目撃したのは僕だけじゃないんだからな
大丈夫だよきっとタクが守ってくれるから
I'm glad you have hope.
あれもしかして守ってくれないの
いやそういうわけじゃないただその
I fell silent, but I could tell that Sarika was nodding to herself on the other side of the phone.
ああ、そっか。それで迷ってるんだね。
And then, even though I hadn't said anything, she seemed to realize my problem. Could I kill someone if it meant saving someone?
でもね、タク。多分のんちゃんなら相手が幼なじみでも親友でもタクを守るためにためらわないでやっつけると思うんだ。
I wonder about that. It's not that simple.
もちろん私もだよ。タクのためならどんなことでもするし、誰にも負けないと思う。絶対に。
Odd of you to say that, Sarika.
尾上、
タクはどうかな。
Maybe she was right. Kurusu probably would kill her friend if it was the only way to protect us. Only if she had no other choice.
でもそんなことクルスにさせていいわけない。
No, we can't. If that woman really was Senri Minamisawa, it wasn't Kurusu who needed to do it. It was me, right? That's right. I was the way to overcome my past trauma too.
ああ、でも今日は18日だよね。
どうしたいきなり。
Following Sarika's conversation was as impossible as ever.
あのね、次の事件はすぐには起きないんじゃないかなって。
すぐに起きない？
I looked at the calendar, then realized.
次は23日か。
It's actually not that far away. If these killings were following the new generation madness, the next murder would be on the 23rd. After that would be Yummy Hand on October 28th, and DQN Puzzle on the 4th of November. If we could get through the 23rd, we'd be safe for a while. That's another 5 days.
だからそれまでは安全かも。
とはいえ23日になったら24時間逃げ回らなきゃいけないんだよな。
Pretty much.
だったらその日はみんなで一緒にいようよ。ずっと。いくら恨みを持ってるからってみんなのいる場所に堂々と出てくるなんてできないんじゃないかな。
なるほど。やっぱりそういう作戦しかないか。
Yeah, we don't really have anything else. If we could avoid the murderer that way, we'd win. Yeah, but someone else is probably going to die as a result.
部活のみんなにも協力してもらって深夜までやってるお店に入っちゃうとか、佐久間先生さえ許してくれれば青葉寮で合宿してもいいかも。
尾上、お前意外と考えてるんだな。
なんかすっごく褒められちゃった。
And it is. Oh, no, it's not. It's not a compliment at all. But whenever I was in trouble or worried about something, Sarika had always been there to listen. She was one of the few people who really understood me. Of course, I was too embarrassed to tell her that, and I had no plans to ever do so.
それじゃあタク、おやすみ。いい夢見てね。
まあ、おやすみ。
I hung up, then looked at the calendar on the wall again.
10月23日。犯人はどう動き、どんな犯罪を犯すんだろう。
We won't know until it happens.
それは本当に何らかのメッセージなんだろうか。そして狙われているのはこの僕か。
Of that I have no doubt.
それとも
They're definitely after you. Just like we expected, nothing happened over the next few days. There was no sign of that woman and no new arson cases, which meant no news about the case. And Shibuya marches ever onward. For my part, I was trying to figure out how to use my power to protect everyone instead of just screwing around like I had before. And then the day was upon us. That was fast. Time flies.
とりあえず今のところは何もなしか。
So far.
ああ。
よかったっすね、宮代先輩。これもわざわざひなえちゃんが付き合ってあげてるおかげっすよ。感謝の印として今度専属屋のマンゴーフルーツパフェごちそうしてくださいね。
Your sarcasm isn't helping. Hinae.
何言ってんだ。お前だって狙われてるかもしれないだろ。お互い様ってやつだ。
うわー、ドケチ。
ちょっとみんな気を抜くのが早すぎるわ。問題はこれからなんだから。
Kurusu's right. It is too early. And Kazuki agrees. Nothing had happened during school, but that doesn't mean something isn't happening out in Shibuya. We made sure that no one was alone during break periods, and it had paid off. And Uki is here as well.
なんだ山添。
私も一緒にここにいてよかったんでしょうか。学園の生徒でもないのに。
今日は特別だ。君だって能力者なんだから狙われないとも限らないだろ。
Yeah, we need all the precautions we can get.
そういうこと。今日が無事に終わるまで絶対に私たちと離れてはダメよ。
はい。
Yeah, we still have the rest of the night to deal with. Uki had seemed uncomfortable in this new environment all day.
で、これからどうすんだ？
そろそろ学校も人が少なくなるし、移動した方がいいわね。
Yeah, we can't stay forever.
渋谷で遅くまで開いている店へ行こう。悪いけどみんなも付き合ってくれるか？
しょうがないっすね。その代わり宮代先輩のおごりでよろしく。
有村、他のメンバーはともかくお前は割り勘だ。
先輩ひどい。鬼、悪魔。
Call me whatever you want.
それでどこ行くの？
That is a good question.
カラオケとか？
できれば懐的に優しいところにしてくれ。
Yeah, Takuru went to the karaoke for Utani's crime scene observation.
だとすると行き先はいつものあそこだね。
Yep, looks like we're going back to Cafe LAX. Our usual hangout.
よう来たの。ゆるりと過ごしてゆくがよい。
Yeah, we brought friends this time.
お主たちか。好きな席に座ってよいぞ。
Thank you very much, oh mysterious magical girl whose name that we will never learn. We chose a seat by the window with a good view. Cafe LAX took over a whole floor of a classy two-story business building near Shibuya's residential district. With a window seat we could see all around the building and we'd spot that pyrokinetic Senri Minamisawa, if that's who she was, immediately.
閉店までここにいられるね。
Pretty much.
そのためにはたくさん注文しなきゃ。すみません。
Yeah, you're pretty much going to eat them out of house and home. You better be prepared to pay for that, however.
もう一度確認しとくぞ。有村自腹だからな。
Yeah, so be careful what you order. Might be expensive.
ん？どれ？注文は決まったのか？忙しいからさっさとオーダーするように。
店員さん、忙しいなら私もお店の手伝いをしますので。
It seems that Yuki wants to assist. Might not be such a bad thing.
Huh?
Bit of a surprise.
こらこら山添、客は手伝わなくていいんだからな。ていうか手伝っちゃダメだからな。
そうなんですか？
She's trying to be useful, but today is food day.
そうなんです。
Yeah, customers aren't allowed to help the staff. That's just how it is.
私はここからここまで全部お願いします。
だから有村、どさくさに紛れてそういう注文するな。お前には絶対におごらないからな。
She's still trying. Yeah, I think we ate too much.
お前、何うなってんだよ。
さっき食べたシュークリームのクリームが髪についちゃって。
Or maybe not. How could she pull that off with hair that length?
花ってば大きなあくび。
伊藤もだ。いくらなんでも気を抜きすぎだろ。
それにお行儀が悪いわよ。
んなこと言ったってしょうがないだろ。何時間もただだらっとしてるだけなんだから。
Yeah. Well, the perpetrators are out there killing not time. We've been at Cafe LAX for 4 hours already. At first everyone had been tense and alert, but it seemed like we were starting to hit our limits. Arimura and I seemed to be relaxing a little. If we were alone we would have been afraid, but we were surrounded by our friends. And if you added in the waitress and the other customers, There were even more people here now. I couldn't imagine someone just barging in and attacking. Hold that thought.
Oi, kora! Onushi ra!
The waitress had walked over at some point while I was looking out the window and was standing next to me.
一体何時間粘るつもりじゃ。これ以上注文せんのならいい加減。ああ、します、注文。メニューください。
Yeah, cafe etiquette. I guess we had to order extra after all. It was only natural, but it was putting a big dent in my budget for the month.
おれ、メニューじゃ。ありがとうございます。タク、何頼む？
Sarika took the menu and handed it to me.
そうだな。なるべく安いものと。
I don't think we're gonna be that lucky. As I flipped through the menu, I saw...
Huh?
That's... Yep. That's a sumo sticker. And it's a real one too. Yeah. Hiding in the cafe might not have been such a good idea. I felt horribly dizzy and my eyes started to go blurry. I felt bad. It hurt to breathe.
あの夜と同じだ。
The 11th Rorschach, which had tortured Arimoto and I on the night we were attacked by the pyrokinetic, was right in front of me. Everything started to go dim.
ダメだ。こんな時。
Yeah, we should have expected this. We really should have expected this. Stay strong. Don't lose it. If only were that simple. Don't lose it, even as your heart rate is going overboard. Very powerful psychological attack. Okay, I managed to get a hold of myself. I'm gonna put this down. Or maybe not. What? Where did everybody go? That made no sense. How? Yeah. I think the cafe was not the safe haven you thought it was.
グルス。尾上。糸。
Where?
和樹。有村。山添。
They were gone. Not only my friends, but even the waitress had disappeared. Everybody was gone.
嘘だろう。誰かいないのか。
I called out to the back of the cafe, but there was no sign that anyone was there.
くそ、なんでだよ。
I think we got careless. This sound. Oh yes. this sound. All the sound had disappeared from the world. The music that had been playing in the cafe was gone, and so were the sounds of the cars that sometimes passed by on the road. There was nothing but strange silence and dark gloom. I could only hear one thing. That terrifying sound. She was getting closer. The footsteps were coming up the stairs to the cafe. Oh dear. Shivering with fear, I forced myself to quietly open the door to the cafe, then snuck out onto the landing. Trembling, I looked down the stairs to the first floor, and there I saw oh yes, it's her. Senri Minamisawa. Also known as Amy, or hiding behind the alias of Amy. Oh, she knows we're here. She knows. Our eyes met. Our eyes met for an instant. I saw those eyes like cold fire looking up at me from beneath the hair that covered her whole face. I knew it. That was...
あれはこの前のパイロキネシスト南沢千里
as if she could sense my fear. There's that crazy laughter again. Senri Minamisawa looked at me and smiled. It was the same smile of a beast that had found its prey.
見つけた。
Again. Chapter 8, Betrayal, Entanglement of Erosive Cases. Yeah. I think we can safely say that the situation has turned not in our favor. Unfortunately, that is going to be the end of this episode of Let's Play ChäoS Child, and when we return, hell only knows how Takuru is going to get out of this one. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.